going on, everyone? Just a quick note at the top of the podcast here. We do have a little bit of technical difficulties at the start of the podcast. I'm going to say like the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. Unfortunately, Melissa's internet connection was not cooperating while we were recording this. It does eventually get fixed. There might be a period at the start where there's some syncing issues or stuttering or who knows what. So just be aware of that. But without further ado, let's get on to our spoiler cast, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Welcome back to the Whatnots Reactor Core number 67. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, what's up?
Hello.
And Ignacio Rojas. How are you,
Hello,
Ignacio?
Kyle. Doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We are here to talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We have all seen the movie. We're super excited. I think this is going to be a great time. Ignacio, you got to see it a day before both Melissa and I. You got to see it on Wednesday because it came out a day earlier for you. Let's jump right into our spoiler-free thoughts because there is a lot to get through in this movie and a lot to talk about. So yeah, what did you think?
I really enjoyed the movie. One of my fears coming into the movie was that from what we have known and it being the multiverse, I thought that, okay, coming out of the movie, is it going to be the thing that I like, just the cameos and the worlds that we get to see and not necessarily the Doctor Strange story?
Mm-hmm.
But watching it and then coming out of it, I really, really enjoyed it as a Doctor Strange movie and his journey and all that. And add into it all the cameos, the words we got to see, everything to that. I think that was just extra, but I really liked it as a Doctor Strange movie, as a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
What it means for the multiverse.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Melissa, what about you? Spoiler-free thoughts on Doctor Strange.
This is a very impressive piece of work. Sam Raimi was not reined in or toned down at all. I was very happy that it was a full standard Marvel movie as you know it and a full standard Sam Raimi movie as you know it. Laid on top of each other, smushed together, cranked up to 10 on all counts.
Absolutely. It was a blast. I had a great time watching this. It was a lot of fun. It is nonstop. It is fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that happens in this movie. It's kind of wild. That like Ignacio said, there are tons of cameos that I think just make this like it takes what is a Doctor Strange movie and I think pushes it up to like, hey, this is actually kind of like must see Marvel MCU. Like,
yes.
This is an event. And I think if you're a fan of Sam Raimi and his films, you will get a kick out of this. I know there's a ton of Easter eggs in there to all of his stuff. I'm not as familiar with his filmography. But man, as an MCU fan, as a comic book fan, I thought this was incredible. I had a blast. It's not without its issues. And I think arguably you could say that this is this should have been Scarlet Witch's movie, that it could have been Scarlet Witch and the Multiverse of Madness.
Understandable.
But there's a lot that goes into this movie. So we have a lot to talk about with this, but I had a blast. It was good. Good stuff indeed. Do you have any other kind of final thoughts that you want to add to this for spoiler-free stuff before we go into spoilers?
Why bother?
Yeah, why not?
I want to talk
It
about
is
the
a very
whole
good movie. You
thing.
should just watch it.
It really is. The only thing that I want to add to this is our box office mojo check-in. So we are recording this on Sunday afternoon, the weekend of the movie's debut. And currently, domestically, it has made $185 million. Internationally, it has made 265 million, which then adds up to a whopping 450 worldwide total. 450 million. So it's doing pretty good. It is doing very, very, very good.
Not surprising with the amount of screenings it is getting. I saw a tweet, I think either it was IGN or IGN retweeted it, of an AMC, I think in Times Square, that had something like 40 screenings in one day.
Oh wow. Yeah. So the theater that I went to wasn't packed, but I went to go watch it Thursday at 5 in the afternoon. So this is like right when work should be getting off. It was one of the earliest screenings that we had. So I don't think the like main crowd had gotten there yet. So it was interesting to like see it not packed. But I still was at an early showing, so I'll give them a pass. But
for me,
it seems to be.
For me, it was a very, very interesting experience because it was Wednesday, which was not the official release, but the pre-release date, and it was at 7 p.m. That said, it was full in a way that it hasn't been like that since before the pandemic. I think that this might be the first big movie to come out after they just eased on with the restrictions imposed for movie theaters, where there wasn't any social distancing inside of the theater. But yeah, it was packed. It was wild seeing it packed. Again, I hadn't seen it like that since before the pandemic. It was full. Getting there already, getting to the theater, it already felt different because there were already a ton of people coming out. There were now a ton of people coming into the movie.
Going in as you were getting out,
So it was wild getting back to that.
There's something so special just about going to a movie like this, where it is this big cultural thing that everyone wants to go see. It's pretty fun. Last thing, I promise. I did actually have a minor bad experience. I was sitting next to a kid and his father. The kid was super young. I don't know how old exactly. Young enough, he could understand what was going on. You could tell he had seen all the Marvel movies. He knew what was happening, but hadn't been to many like movie experiences, because he was still like, is this the movie? And it would be like, no, this is another preview. Like he would be talking a little bit, but I want to say about 15 to 20 minutes into the movie, he just vomits.
Oh no.
He vomited. Thankfully, he had like gotten up and like walked like away from me like a step or two, but then like vomit like 15 feet away, just projectile vomited like 2 times. It was not great. So there you go. That was my experience seeing Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Wow.
So
I see all my movies Saturday afternoon, which makes it a slightly anxious time for very, very big movies like this. Well, I accidentally see something in that brief window of time before I see it Saturday at like 1 o'clock. But it's a peaceful time to go see a movie. It's never hectic. You got a good crowd, but it's never completely crowded. I recommend the Saturday afternoon lifestyle.
It can be a good one for sure. For sure. Indeed. So without further ado, we will get we'll take a quick break for some housekeeping, and then we will come right back with spoilers. So we will be right back. We put a lot of hard work into the shows that we make, and yes, we make multiple different shows here at The Whatnots, and we'd love it if you check them all out. You can find out more information on our website at thewhatnots.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. When you type in The Whatnots, all of our shows will pop up right there. Just don't forget to give us a nice rating and review if you like the shows. If you want to support what we do here at The Whatnots, patreon.com/thewhatnots is the best place to do that. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You can get all kinds of exclusive content at the $3 tier. You can also get a shout out and a thank you on all of our shows at the $5 tier. You can support us on Twitch by subscribing to our channel at twitch.tv/thewhatnots, and we would love to have you all join us for our live streams and talk with us in the chat. And lastly, we have merch. If you'd like to grab yourself a shirt or a sweatshirt or a mug or something else, go to thewhatnots.com/store to pick up some merch today. And we are back. A big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for supporting us. It means the world. Thank you for opening up your wallets. It means a lot. Thank you. Cool things that we've been up to here at the Whatnots. If you guys want some more Marvel content, the three of us here just did our reactions to the second half of Moon Knight. If you guys want to hear our thoughts on the finale of Moon Knight and how that went down, that is also up on the Reactor core. We also recently did a trailer reaction to Thor: Love and Thunder. That's up on the Reactor core. And then over on the review show, Melissa, you and I recently recorded a podcast on Thor, Goddess of Thunder. So if you want to know more about who this new Thor is, what's up with Jane Foster, then you guys should go check out those comics and our podcast on all of that stuff. But yeah, that's about it for housekeeping right now. Let's dive into spoilers.
Yeah.
All right.
I was happy to see that this movie wastes no time getting started.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I knew it had so much it had to accomplish. It's only 2 hours and 6 minutes, which is a little bit on the short side, shorter than I expected. So yeah, it starts with hitting the ground running.
It's actually not like 2 hours and 6 minutes. That's a great length for a movie, but we've just gotten so used to like 2 hours and 50 minutes of a movie. 2 hours and 40 minutes. So
that's how long Spider-Man was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how long they usually are. I was surprised when the credits started rolling. I looked at my watch and it hadn't been even 2 hours in it, I don't think.
Yeah. So kind of wild that 2 hours is now considered a short movie.
Yeah.
Still felt meaty though. It did feel short.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot. So like we normally do here on the Reactor core, we will kind of go over some of the plot points, but we will play fast and loose with those and just kind of give you the broad brush strokes as a launching off point for us to talk about this movie. So yeah, starts out with an alternate reality version of Doctor Strange and America Chavez, who is new to the MCU. Though if you are a reader of the comics, you might be familiar with her. And they are running from this demon. They're trying to get the Book of Vishanti. Is it Vishanti or Visanti? SH or no?
Vishanti.
Vishanti.
I think it's Vishanti,
Yeah, Vishanti.
like the singer.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with Vishanti for this, but yeah. So they are after the Book of Vishanti. We don't know exactly why yet, but things don't work out for that Doctor Strange and America Chavez. At the last second, America opens up a portal, which leads to the universe that we know for the MCU, and they jump through it. But Doctor Strange does not survive that one. Yes,
one thing,
Ignacio.
One important thing before that is that they get cornered, they get trapped, and then Strange straight up tries to kill her.
Yeah,
tries to take her powers, willing to kill her.
Yeah, absolutely, and that becomes important a little bit later on. But yeah, so they make it to the universe. Oh, Melissa just dipped out of the podcast, went to another multiverse, another universe. I don't know what happened there. Melissa is back from the multiverse of madness.
My Discord just like rebooted and rebooted again within the reboot process. I didn't touch anything.
Well, yeah. So this is Doctor Strange and America Chavez make it to the universe we are familiar with, and that version of Doctor Strange does not survive. She ends up meeting our version of Doctor Strange, who she's not trusting very much because, as Ignacio just said, the previous one tried to kill her and take her powers. But our Doctor Strange does actually want to help, and that ends up leading him to Wanda, aka the Scarlet Witch.
Here we get introduced to the idea of dreams being just other versions of you in the multiverse.
Indeed, yeah. But that leads us to Wanda, who, as it turns out, is the one that is after America Chavez. She is the one chasing her through all of these multiverses and trying to kill her and take her powers, which the last thing I will say for right now then leads to a big confrontation at Camartage. The Scarlet Witch versus Doctor Strange and Wong, aka the Sorcerer Supreme, and a whole bunch of wizards and sorcerers in training. So yeah, let's dive into this first bit here. I didn't even mention the monster here. We get some good monsters in this movie.
We get a big eyeball monster and a wedding.
Yeah,
most movies only have one or the other.
Right? Yeah. Melissa, I know you've been commenting on recent Marvel stuff that you want to see more creatures and more monsters and all that stuff. So, what did you think of this big, like, starfish tentacle one-eyed monster thing here?
He looks cool. One big eye, very expressive. There's fun creatures in this. This started from, I think, Shang-Chi last year, where we get to Ta Lo and it's full of animals, like fantasy animals. I'm like, I know this was on the plate. I didn't know we were going to get these. And we've had these cool god designs in Moon Knight. And I'm happy we've got more just monsters, creatures, spookums. Indeed.
Yeah. They did some great work with the creature design in this. I like that even Doctor Strange's magic now kind of incorporates that. I was talking to some friends of mine in another Discord, and one of my favorite small touches is the spell that Doctor Strange does when that big fat fish comes out and swallows the thing and then goes back in some other portal. He just summons some monster and then sends it on its way, and that was it. We don't see it again. It's not explained. It's just a thing that he does there. So I thought that was neat. Ignacio, thoughts on some of these monsters and creatures and stuff that we see?
I liked it. I like the variety of monsters that we got. We got the octopus monster here, but also before that, in the opening sequence, we got a very weird I don't know, stringy, if you want to call it, or something like that, or
It looked like
strings of strands.
linen, yeah, like
Yeah,
wrappings.
yeah,
The
like a wrapping.
mummy.
Yeah. So I like the designs of the monsters, and also I like the fight itself, the creativity of having to come up with the different spells and then killing it in a very gruesome way, which is something that we see a lot or a bunch throughout the rest of the movie. Just kind of like the gory stuff without being gory, just the eye being ripped out, and we
Very
see
much
it
like
being ripped out.
PG-13 style gore,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And they don't cut away. We see it getting ripped out.
Yeah.
We see it getting stuffed and then being pulled out.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is definitely very gory. For a MCU movie, for a PG-13 movie, right? This is very violent. I know there's been a lot of people out there who have said like, "Hey, this is the MCU's first true horror movie." And personally, well, I might disagree slightly. I think what they're getting at is the actual like gore and violence of the film, right? And that like Sam Raimi style, like there's blood everywhere and it's just visceral and gruesome.
I do agree that it is. Sure, it isn't a horror movie because that's not the point, but it is kind of like the MCU's version of a horror movie, kind of like what we've seen the MCU takes on other genres of movies, where you get here, like we said, you get plenty of gore without being very gory, but it is still there. You get a lot of horror elements, like later on when Wanda comes in all messed up, all kind of like.
Yep, like
that.
Grudge.
Yeah, her bloody face, and we get
no, not the
Ring.
Yes, yeah,
The
Ring.
We get that. We get some jump scares here and there, moments of tension. I think that sure it isn't a horror movie, but it is Marvel's MCU take on a horror movie.
Indeed. Melissa. WandaVision was a very important like you kind of needed okay, Melissa's off to another universe here.
She's very still.
I was hoping, I was trying, but yeah, it looks like she is having some technical difficulties here. But we will continue on. So yeah, I think WandaVision is a like particularly like you need to have watched this one to understand what is happening in this, because I think last time we saw her it was at Tony Stark's funeral, like last time in the movies.
She was in a very different place.
Right. So to go from that to this, if you haven't seen WandaVision, it's kind of like, whoa, what happened to her? Like, what's up with that? And I hope you all have seen WandaVision, because it is very much required viewing. But I think between I guess what I'm getting at is that WandaVision put Scarlet Witch in a very difficult place, right? Where she held a bunch of people hostage, basically had this glimpse into a life where she got to live with Vision and her 2 kids, and it was this like picturesque life. And by the end of that series, we see her with the Darkhold exploring this dark magic to try and find her kids. And so that's basically where this movie picks up, and is why she is after America Chavez, because she has the power to hop into different universes and stuff like that. So Ignacio, what did you think of Wanda at this point in time and what her story arc was in this movie here. Because she's she is the bad guy of this film. She is the antagonist here.
Yeah. I have two thoughts on it. I think that she does a great job being the villain, being a believable villain, being scary. Her motivations, I get it, and especially if you add in the Darkhold, which is just amplifying everything bad and making her go in bad. I like that. I like her again. And I also like how, you get Doctor Strange, who is a sorcerer, but now you get Wanda, who is similar to that, but it isn't that. Where we get in the movie the concept of this is a different kind of. It isn't like our magic. It is a different kind of magic, and I like that. My problem comes in that Wanda has gotten the shit end of the stick through the whole of her appearances in the MCU, where she hasn't had a movie where she isn't in a way a bad like the bad guy or seen as a bad guy. Where Age of Ultron starts as an antagonist, Civil War, everything goes on because of her. Infinity War, she is running from the law. Endgame, you barely see her,
right?
And then WandaVision, she enslaves a whole town. And so now this is her going in full villain. And I wish that we would have gotten, in the end, a way to redeem her. Where you get the scene with Professor X, where he goes into her mind. And the first, when I saw it, I thought, oh, that's our Wanda, but it's her good side that is being controlled by the Darkhold. But no, that's the Wanda from that dimension. I later on realized. And also, they do not do anything with that, where she has that moment in the end where she realizes, oh, I'm the bad guy. I'm scaring my kids that I want to get. Then I want to get with them. Now I'm gonna sacrifice myself.
Yeah. I'm of a similar mind here, where I think she's gotten the short end of the stick a lot. And in a way that's starting to be a thing that I don't like. I know in the comics that the Avengers Disassembled storyline kind of dragged her through the mud, and then immediately after that was the House of M storyline, which again dragged her through the mud, and they had conversations of like, hey, do we need to kill her? Do we need to do the it was very serious stuff. And a lot of comic book like the discussion around that stuff was, man, Brian Michael Bendis and like the creators at the time were just dragging her through the mud, and just like why? Like this makes no sense. And I'm kind of the same mind here in these movies, where we see her at the start, and she does appear to be a villain when we first get introduced to her in the MCU, but then she has a redeeming moment in Avengers, right? Where Hawkeye is like, hey, you step out that door, you are an Avenger. And she does. And like she has her one moment in the sun where she feels redeemed and she feels like she's on a good path. And then like she just has these heartbreaking moments after heartbreaking moments. But in a ways, I kind of understand it too. Like she had to kill Vision, right? And then Thanos rewound time, making that meaningless. Killed him himself. Made her what? Like she's been dragged through the mud. That I can understand, like why she's gotten to that point, right? Where she is now the bad, where she is now the bad guy. And like you said, I think she plays a fantastic villain. But man, it sucks to like see her in this position there. I don't like I don't know what else. Like, I want to see her be good and do good and be happy. Like, please.
She has a great line. Going back to the vision thing, she has a great line of, I had to, and I'm paraphrasing, I had to kill the person that I love, and it meant nothing. It was meaningless.
Yeah.
I love that line. My hope, going back to the comics, my hope would be that she is somehow alive and she gets a moment like in Avengers versus X-Men where, she went through hell. She has been the antagonist the whole thing, but I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to redeem myself. Yeah. Thank you in the moment.
Yeah. Which we'll get back to that in a sec, because I think she's alive too. I didn't like. I saw some other people be like, "Well, now she's dead," and this and that. But we'll get back to all of that stuff. But yeah, like I hope that one day we can see her redeemed. And doing that stuff here. I think we're gonna. Oh wait, Melissa's camera's finally back on. I was about to be like, let's take another.
I had it on
break here. It's been like the spinning like purple boxes for the past like 5 minutes. But we heard you at the end there being like, yeah, okay. So Melissa, your thoughts on Scarlet Witch in this and her portrayal in the movie here?
I had some internet outages and I wasn't able to hear everything you guys said, so I'm sorry if I'm not properly in dialogue with
That's A-okay.
But I think she's a very effective and very sympathetic villain. I think the movie never loses that sympathy for her. And one moment I really like is when I think it's when she comes to Camartage and she's trying to take America away. And she talks about how she's out there trying to find these 2 sons that she lost. And there's just a shot of America's face and she never vocalizes it, but you know she's thinking about, as much as she's still scared of this woman who wants to take her powers away, she's like, I'm out here looking for my mom's. She's out here looking for her kids. Like, are we that different? Like, she has sympathy for Wanda. And I do like at the end where she's like, I'm just going to give her what she wants. And like, if it doesn't work, it's on her. It's not on me. Like, I did my part. I did what she wanted. And yeah, it is a rough ending, but I understand it. Like, it feels appropriately, archetypically tragic without feeling mean. And I do like that it ends in a way that this could be her finale, which case it is a very grandiose finale. You know, I don't think she's underserved, or she certainly could come back. I'd like to see her come back. This has been a character they've really gotten a lot out of. And I feel like she could have been a fine hero, and they've made her into a really stellar villain.
Yeah. I that's kind of what Ignacio and I were saying, is that like, yeah, they've used her a lot, but we also feel like she's kind of gotten the short end of the stick on some of this. So I hope she does get redeemed, as much as some of the stuff is understandable, right? It's still just like, man, this sucks that you had to like go through so much bad shit. So
yeah, I would like to see her do further good deeds that aren't just her trying to make up for a bad thing she did.
Yeah.
I'd like her to do something that's just flat out good and is not any attempt to balance scales. It just is.
Or just her being she's happy, still right?
Right. And she is still a very thoughtful, kind person. She just had a series of very bad things happen to her, and she's just been trying to get to very normal things. Like, she doesn't want power unto itself. She only wants power to get back to this family situation. And why I also kind of missed the presence of Vision in the movie, even more just like overt references to him. But I do also like that it's in a movie with so much going on. It is narrowed down to strictly mother and child dynamic. We're not talking about her husband or her brother or anybody also.
Absolutely. And that's kind of why I feel like this movie is arguably Scarlet Witch and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Is this feels like a continuation of her story from WandaVision, and
Yes.
it's her next step. And I know Ignacio, you had said like you really enjoyed this as a Doctor Strange movie. To be honest, I felt like Doctor Strange was kind of the backseat here in this. Like, I feel like the love story between him and Christine was very underserved in the film here. It still had its poignant moments, but it really just felt like it took a backseat to Wanda and the stuff that she had been going through here. So there you go. There's that stuff. Let's move on a little bit with the plot. So after Scarlet Witch assaults Camartage, basically Doctor Strange and America Chavez get chased into yet another universe, another part of the multiverse here, and they get tossed into the multiple different universes along this journey in this incredible scene where they get turned, they're underwater, they get to the like Savage Land Jurassic Park style thing, they're paint at one, you just like this splash of paint on screen. It's an incredible scene, but then they end up in this universe that seems to be a little bit futuristic. There's a lot of overgrown plants in this, or just like lots of flowers like built into the environment. Not necessarily in a post-apocalyptic way, but it kind of reminds me of that stuff. It looks like maybe there was some of that, but they've rebuilt then, and they just kind of kept that aesthetic.
It's a fascinating world in that I think the setting looks utopian. When you look at these futuristic designs of like, we'll grow plants vertically. Like all of our buildings are going to have like solar panels and green spaces on them. It looks like a future or just an alternate timeline, an alternate universe where the architecture has been given over completely to that. Everything's covered in these beautiful lush flowers, and then but the people look dystopian. The people are all wearing flat black and gray. They all have a hat on like it's about to rain. But that's a very fascinating dichotomy of the brightest buildings and the saddest looking people.
It's really interesting because it also helps Doctor Strange and America like stand out in a just like visually speaking, like they stand out like a sore thumb, and it's neat to see all of the visual stuff that this movie just packs in, just every little small detail there. But essentially, they try and find the Sanctum Sanctorum in this version of New York. And when they get there, they see a giant statue of Doctor Strange, and they are greeted by one Baron Mordo, who Doctor Strange has some bad blood with in his universe. There,
so like the previous Doctor Strange movie, it ends with the post-credit scene of Mordo just going hunting down people with magic wizards. And then the resolution that we get from that is Strange having that reaction to him and the line of him going crazy after that. That's how we're gonna resolve that plot point.
Yep, they just dropped it. It really feels like they had like that was the plan for the sequel, and then they were like, wait a minute, no. The MCU is kind of going in this direction. What if it's more like multiverse and it's madness and, all that stuff? And they just completely dropped that plot. Maybe they'll pick it back up somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know that it is officially dropped. You're right. That seemed like the obvious hook for Doctor Strange 2, and then the MCU just evolved to where it needed that to have a bigger scale. And it is weird that we only see 838 Mordo. We don't know what 616 Mordo has been up to, but he could show up anywhere. I'd love it if he was part of House of Harkness or something. I think there is room to come back to that.
Yeah.
Especially as we move into this more magic era. And with people who aren't like wizards, they aren't sorcerers, but as we're getting into like Blade and Black Knight and Moon Knight and this more sort of supernatural dark magic era of the MCU, there's room for Mordo.
Definitely come back. Yeah, for sure. Indeed. But yeah, so skipping ahead just slightly, we do get to meet this universe's version of Christine, who now has Doctor Strange and America held captive in this facility because something happened with this universe's version of Doctor Strange, and they don't really trust him. They don't really like him, even though that statue said he was a hero. And yeah, shortly after that, we get to
says. It says he is Earth's mightiest hero, not one of Earth's mightiest heroes.
He is Earth's mightiest.
The number one.
He is.
I'm like, wow, Avengers. Every other hero agreed to the statue saying that? I want to see this conversation where they have to get like this version of Tony to say, yeah, remove the one of. It was him. He was our greatest.
Yeah.
Also, here we get the introduction of yours is universe 616, this is 838.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I mean, neither. Me neither.
That's not true.
The MCU universe has its own number. It isn't 616.
It's like 1999999.
They keep calling it that. They did the same in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is which in Spider-Man was kind of an Easter egg of like, oh, but Mysterio is lying. Like that's not the universe he said he's from, and the one he said that this was is not what they actually are. So of course Mysterio was lying. But he said that Earth was 616, which was a line that one of his workers wrote for him. Like it was part of the script. So kind of a weird coincidence that multiple people have said that this is 616, which I guess like just big sigh for me because that's where all the comics are supposed to be taking place. So
I understand that, but it is a way punchier number to say than Earth 19999. Like I don't even remember how many nines are in it.
I'd be okay with them retconning the number, but don't make it 616. Like that's legitimately already taken. So yeah, I did not like that. But oh well.
Well, there's more to be seen. Maybe this isn't the ultimate word on multiverses. Maybe we'll meet one watcher who's zoomed all the way out and they're like,
there's multiple multiverses.
Yeah,
here.
From what you know, you are. Yeah, but actually, did you know another universe that you missed already has that number? You were the second one to name yourself, so you got to come up with a new number.
No, it's like.
Go ahead.
Go on. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say that's always a problem I have with like sci-fi and like multiple reality stories is the one you always start out with and where the main character is from. They always think that they are the most important universe. Like we're Earth 1.
Yeah.
No, we're Earth 616. And it's just like, what? Why do you get to be number one?
That was what I was gonna bring up. Like in Futurama, when they meet the other universe and they better, we are universe 1. We're universe A then.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
We're universe prime.
We don't know that this is the end of the story. We've spent like 5 minutes talking about a number, but who knows? Who knows? This is maybe one setup in a long joke.
yeah, who knows? But yeah, so they are being held captive at this compound, and very quickly, Doctor Strange is taken to meet the Illuminati. That we knew was
I
in
like
this here.
Well, even before that, I like the name drop of the Baxter Foundation that Christine mentioned.
I was like, oh my god, I know
Yeah.
this.
I know.
And
The
then-
screening I was in, nobody made any noise, but I definitely like
I did.
waved
Yeah.
my arms
I
around
I was
a
the
lot.
only one in my theater that was like,
I think I might have been the only one too.
yeah.
But then, yeah, when Mordo comes in and, but I don't know. Yeah, I think Mordo comes in and he says that they're going to see, and Strange goes, who is it? Who you work with? Shield, Avengers, who is it? None of those.
Hydra?
Oh, so Hydra? No. The Illuminati will see you now.
Yeah.
I was
kinda
surprised they
wild.
kept the name Illuminati.
No?
They're at the point in the MCU when, yes, they can keep the names like Illuminati, Shumagogorath, like all of that. They don't need to skip on stuff like that. It's comic book movies.
Mhm.
But yeah, we have to talk about the Illuminati. This was so cool. I think on one hand, this is the biggest fan servicey moment of the entire film. It is just kind of like, all right, let's have this scene in there to appease people like me,
Mhm.
and then we can move on with the story. But still, it's cool to see. It's cool that concepts like this are now being introduced to like the Marvel movie goers who don't know as much about the comics.
Mhm.
That like, hey, you can go read the Illuminati comics. Like you can go see that stuff or see what they had to do in Secret Invasion or Dark Reign and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm happy that it exists here. Melissa.
Let's go through them.
Yes,
So we already
please.
knew Professor X, and we could all see little glimpses of Captain Carter. It was pretty much a given Captain Carter was in there. And it was also a very strong guess of Maria Rambeau as an alternate Captain Marvel, who I was very excited to see. I really liked Lashana Lynch in the first Captain Marvel
She
movie.
was great, yeah.
She might have been the one of these that excited me the most, just because I love her. And then Baron Mordo, he's actually on the council. I don't know if that was exactly clear from trailers. We didn't know if he was on the Illuminati or if he's just working with the Illuminati.
Anyone mention that?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was there.
He's there.
He was in the
And then
room.
I was shocked. Like, I knew from the comics Black Bolt was on the Illuminati, but nobody
This
was
one
expecting.
blew my
yeah, and then
mind.
they'll keep Black Bolt. Black Bolt definitely grandfathered
I wasn't
in.
expecting
Definitely still keeping Black Bolt.
Did either of you watch the Inhumans show?
No. Yeah.
I watched it too. I stuck with the whole thing.
Yeah, me too.
God, that show was awful. It was really bad. And yeah, like if they took anything from that show and carried it over to something else, I think the two things that I would want to fight for would be Black Bolt, and then of course there is the dog whose name I'm blanking on right now. I apologize, but like those were the best two things in that series. Besides that, though, that show was garbage.
Yeah,
it was really bad.
So I only knew recently that was the same actor as the show. And so seeing him there, seeing his suit, I was like,
nice.
It's nice to see him here. I don't think I like how they're portraying him. It feels like a bit sassy there with some of their responses. The costume, I didn't like it very much.
His costume was very comics accurate. So
yeah, I don't think it looked good. But yeah, knowing that it is the same actor, I really appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then of course we got to get to Reed Richards, which I've always been so puzzled. John Krasinski as Reed Richards is a concept I like, and everybody else seems to love And I've always struggled with, what am I missing? What parts of the equation do I not have to understand why the internet decided it's him? This is God's truth. We will accept none other than John Krasinski.
It was just really popular fan casting. And I think also his wife, they were fan casting her as Sue. Yeah. So like, and they like vaguely look the parts. Like in The Office, John Krasinski was this just very tall, lanky, like awkward
I
guy.
need him to be taller and lankier. I want a beanpole Reed. He's too.
He was pretty skinny.
He's a little. I don't. He's like a little too traditionally hunky. I want a Reed who looks like the guy you would cast as the human equivalent of the Powerpuff Girls' dad. He needs to look like a Professor Utonium. This being said, I did like to see him.
Yeah.
He did a fine job. I'm still missing numbers in this equation in my head, but I did like it. And I know it made so many other people very happy. Yeah. And I just like the Fantastic Four as characters. And I was shocked we were going to get that far. I thought it would still be a long way out before we saw one of them. I was happy if they just said the word Baxter and left it at that.
Yeah, same here. I was like, they said Baxter. Oh my God, mind blown. Fantastic Four exists.
Right. And I've been over here waiting years just to see the word Latveria very small on a map. And they're like, no, you get to see Reed. Here he is.
Yeah. So I have never seen John Krasinski in anything, I don't think so, but I knew the fan casting, and seeing him there, I just popped so hard. Just because he is there probably because of the fans, and I love that they did that. I'm sure that he is a great actor, and he is. From what we saw from him, I liked his portrayal. I would be happy with him being Reed Richards, and sure, throw in Emily Blunt there as Sue Storm.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing him there for sure. I think especially after The Office finished, he tried to definitely make sure he was not typecasted as Jim Halpert, right? And I think maybe some of his choices of things he acted in was maybe a little strange, but I think it was the right career move to make sure that he was not typecasted. So yeah, I'm happy to see him in this role. I think he did a great job. I would like to see more, but I guess that's the thing with the Illuminati is we don't know. Is this just this version of these characters? Will they recast for whatever the next Fantastic Four movie is? Which unfortunately, John Watts is no longer directing that one. But who knows? We shall see. I do have to go back to Professor X because that was the one I squealed the loudest at because
good to see him
with the theme.
Not just seeing him, like I knew he was in this movie, right? But then to have the music kick in and like my eyes just light up, like this is what Tim Geddes on Kind of Funny was talking about that one music thing that hit, and he was just like, yes. Fuck yeah.
You can hear that. You can hear some of the Captain America theme played for Captain Carter. I loved the Elfman score in this. This is full Elfman.
So it's, I mean, like to hear Captain America's score for Captain Carter is neat. But to specifically hear the XMen cartoon theme is just on another level. And he comes out in the like yellow wheelchair, same outfit, just like, Wolverine, bring me cheese pizza. I need it. So I need that meme.
I didn't notice looking at the credits, but apparently they credit that theme as a 97 theme.
X-Men 97, yep.
Which is the one that's gonna be coming out in the future.
Yeah, that like X-Men 97 is its own, I guess you could say universe, because now they have X-Men 97 comics, which continue that story and stuff like that. And then, yes, there is a new animated series that is coming out down the road on Disney Plus to continue the story of X-Men 97, which is wild. So
I have 2 points. One, as soon as everybody was introduced, I lost my ability to pay attention. I was looking at who was saying things. I did not really hear anything they said. My head had ascended to a higher plane. He still hasn't said mutants.
Nope.
Right?
Mutants.
That's wild to me. That they've waited so long. This is what I've been waiting for like 5 years since whenever the merger was, since they legally could say mutant. They are playing the long game with this.
Yeah.
Every new show, every movie, I pray, will this be the time I hear it? I just want somebody to say the word mutant to me. Still waiting for it. Okay.
I agree. Yeah,
Point number 2. When Doctor Strange and Mordo are fighting, they're in this weird orchestra pit space before the
like a
platform.
Moat. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I was really puzzled by that, and I wondered, maybe this is literally a pool and they fill it up with water when Namor's there. There
was an empty seat.
There was.
Right, and I was like, I don't know anything about Namor. I don't know if he functions like a merman and that he periodically does need to get wet. So,
yeah, and that empty seat
is that true?
Was probably Doctor Strange's seat. Let's be honest.
I think Mordo took Strange's seat.
Did he?
Mordo has it.
Interesting.
It must have. You wouldn't have 2 sorcerers there, and I think Strange actually says it.
True. Yeah.
Strange says that. I bet you killed Strange because you wanted establish yourself or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean,
but yeah, next to Black Bolt there was an empty seat.
Could be Hank Pym, could be Tony Stark, could be
Tony. Yeah. What? Why didn't we get it? The rumors for Tom Cruise.
Everyone felt real certain about an alternate Tony. Yeah, nobody had Black Bolt on their list. Yeah, I was less concerned about the chair and more worried about the moat. I'm like, this is for somebody wet. They fill this with water. It's just dry right now. But I bet this is for some wet council member.
Who knows?
I think it's just like going back to Charles, which again I love seeing him. I wish we would have gotten more from him. I love that when everyone was going out to fight the Wanda, not trusting Strange at all, she immediately turns and tells Strange to actually go do something. I love that.
Yeah.
My one complaint, if you can say that, is that I know that his yellow chair is iconic. It's from the cartoons. It looks so ridiculous.
It did.
Especially
weird.
when they showed them all standing in Titan. They're all standing, Strange is kneeling in front of them, and then that giant ass chair,
this giant block of cheese with a man sitting inside
it. Yeah. Weird. Off of that, I do want to say this movie has brighter colors in it than I expected. Not just Strange's outfit is that's not a navy. It is blue. His cape is red. The colors are so saturated on everybody's costumes in a way that I really found delightful. I like that they didn't go this really desaturated, dark, moody goth look. Yes. There were enough other things in the movie to bring that feeling. They're like, no, let them be bright. Let them be vibrant. Let the chair be bright cheese yellow.
Yeah. Between all the different types of magic that we got to see in this and stuff like that. And the bright, vibrant colors, all just the weird, surreal things happening. I definitely do think this was a step up from the first Doctor Strange, just in terms of magic, right? That one moment in Infinity War where he does the thing and he has the many arms. That was so freaking cool when it happened because they hadn't done stuff like that in the first Doctor Strange. And it makes the first Doctor Strange movie, looking back, just look bland, very dark and muddy and desaturated. So I just
rewatched it. I do still like the first Doctor Strange, but yes, this is a progression that naturally should have happened. It has happened, and has happened very well. I do love the part in Infinity War where he has all the arms. I was thinking about that, and I'm like, I hope he has that many arms in this movie, if not more. And that satisfied my request. Ghost arms.
Ghost arms.
Ghost arms.
Ghost arms, indeed. But yeah, as quickly as we get the Illuminati, they are taken away. They explain that, hey, they're Doctor Strange basically kind of started this incursion, which is when these two universes are about to smash into one another. And oddly enough, Melissa, you and I are watching the show Fringe, which has a great representation of that exactly, where a character is talking about two multiple universes smashing into one another by these two snow globes, and she smashes them, and only one gets smashed, and one is still totally fine. And yeah, essentially what had to happen is that the Illuminati basically had to kill Doctor Strange, and Black Bolt was the one to do it. And when they got back to Earth, they decided to keep that a secret and instead make everyone think that he was a hero that sacrificed himself to help defeat Thanos and stuff like that. But
it is, I really like how, for as little as we got from it, having the Thanos fight, which is so important to MCU, but from a different universe's perspective, where here, how it goes, for one, they have the Illuminati, which is already different, but how it goes is Strange wanting to find a way to defeat Thanos. That's why he uses Darkhold, and then once they finally beat him, then he is too far gone. They have the incursion, and they kill him and make him the hero. But I loved having a different version of the thing that we already saw in Infinity War.
Another detail that I kind of want to mention is that in this scene when they are on Titan and Thanos is on the side of the screen dead there, he does not have all of the Infinity Stones in his gauntlet. He's missing one. Which is kind of what the Illuminati in the comics was set up to do, is to act on these threats before they happen. And so I feel like that implies that, they figured out that Thanos was collecting these things and went to stop it before the Guardians knew or the Avengers knew, right? They went and did their thing. So that's just a neat detail. But yeah, back to what I said. Just as quickly as we got the Illuminati, they were taken away just as fast. And man, these were some gruesome deaths.
Wow.
Brutal. Wanda shows up to their compound. She is now dream walking, which is this concept of putting your consciousness in your body double in another universe, and basically controlling them. And so she has taken over that version, that universe's Wanda, and has come after them and kills the Illuminati. just rips through them like they are nothing.
Oh my gosh. I watched the new rock stars break room show. This live sort of go through the news headlines, hang out, have fun questions show they started doing just this past week. And they presented spoiler-free spoilers for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And one of them just held up a picture of string cheese. And they're like, if you know, you know.
String cheese, or when just squishing a grape or something, right? Just man, the way Black Bolt dies is wild. Where Matrix style, he gets his mouth taken away. But yeah, it's interesting because he's used to not talking, to not vocalizing anything.
No.
So for him to be so horrified that he vocalizes but doesn't have a mouth, so it just implodes his head there is gruesome. Ugh. But yeah,
this movie does a lot with its PG-13 rating. It goes as far as you can within PG-13, and I admire it for it.
They really do. Yeah. So Black Bolt gets his head imploded. Mr. Fantastic gets turned into string cheese, and then his head is popped. Captain Carter gets cut in half by her shield.
Yeah. And
Captain
you don't
Marvel
even see it, but you don't need to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what happened. Yeah.
Were you able to identify? Does it matter what that statue is? Because I didn't recognize it.
I didn't off the top of my head. I would kind of figured maybe those bird-like statues was maybe Falcon in there, but I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, they did have some bigger statues. Maybe it was of them, of heroes of the past, or different Avengers. I don't know. Who knows?
Because everybody's death felt like very tied to their powers and to their identity, and for just a big statue to fall on Captain Marvel, I was like, is there a joke? Is there a layer here I'm not getting?
Like some
maybe
is it like some Kree something? Who knows?
But I like that her death is like just a touch ambiguous. Like if we went back to 838 and they told us she ended up surviving, I don't feel like that'd be a cop-out, you know?
Yeah,
I would like to see her again.
You're telling me Captain Marvel, one of the strongest Avengers, maybe the strongest Avenger, is gonna die because something fell on her?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, that's one of those things, which I again, spoilers for my thoughts of where Wanda ended up. You're gonna tell me that arguably one of the strongest Avengers dies because something falls on top of her? Okay. But
I just want to mention this now before I forget to mention it later. I do love that when she decides to destroy the temple on Wundagore Mountain, she does that by ripping the top of it off like what happened to Sokovia.
Yeah.
And then drops it back down on herself. Like she's returning to this trauma of her homeland, just being absolutely gutted and destroyed in this very, very weird way.
Yeah. So Wanda that has been dream walking. We get a quick scene of Wong, Sorcerer Supreme, being held by Scarlet Witch in 616. And they end up destroying the Darkhold, which gets Wanda out of the dream walking thing, and then she ends up finding out that Wong basically tells her that, hey, the Darkhold was a copy, and that the original spells were on what Melissa just mentioned in Mount Wundagore. Yes, Ignacio.
Have we seen or heard of Mount Wundagore at any other point? Because I know I've heard that name before.
This is the first mention of it in the MCU.
Could have sworn I've heard of it
before. In the comic. I mean, I don't know if it's been in one of those XMen movies. If they mention it in one of those,
was that not where he goes in What If? Strange Supreme?
No,
I know it looks different, but it is
a different place.
No, yeah, it is somewhere else.
Yeah, that was something I've never heard of. But it's some like library of something. But yeah, no, Mount Wundagore in the comics, it is where Chthon first wrote the Darkhold, first made those spells. It's also in some of the comics where Wanda and Pietro were born. But then, of course, the comics have gone back and forth on.
Okay, it might have been that then.
Are they not
I've heard of it.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
I think it was mentioned in the Vision comics at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is the home of the High Evolutionary.
Yes, indeed.
So maybe that's why I've heard of it.
Yeah. So yeah, they go to Mount Wanda, where she goes to get the original spells so that she can keep dream walking and find America and Doctor Strange and take America's powers. All of that's good stuff. And yeah, meanwhile, Doctor Strange and America Chavez have to kind of figure out what to do next. To which Doctor Strange basically goes to another dark, sinister version of Doctor Strange who has used the dark hold, all of that stuff. Now, is this the correct me if I'm wrong? This is not the Doctor Strange from the same
That's not Strange
838
Supreme
one, right? No, not from
no, A3.
No.
No, so you are skipping a little bit. So
right.
Charles tells him that the Book of Vishanti is there. There is a way to get there. They go to Christine. Christine shows them the way. They open up a door to the Book of Vishanti. Wanda gets there, destroys the book, and then captures America. And she creates a portal which takes them to that dark world.
Yeah, the dark sinister.
And that's where they made the other Strange, which I would have loved for him to be Strange Supreme.
Yeah, same
but
here.
He is just another Strange.
Yeah,
Strange man.
Very strange that they did that, indeed. Yeah, so then they have their own version of the Darkhold there, and our Doctor Strange ends up using the Darkhold and basically summoning all of these.
Before having one of the coolest fights of the MCU.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a sec here. But yeah, he ends up basically dream walking, but in the corpse of the first alternate reality Doctor Strange that we saw at the start of the movie. And so he's walking around as Zombie Strange. That Zombie Strange is the one that goes to Mount Wanda to confront Wanda. But yes, Ignacio, tell us about this fight between the two Stranges, because this was so cool.
Yeah. So Strange v Strange. They start fighting. Bad Strange pushes him into a piano, hitting some keys. We get a note there, and then the sheet music goes by, and Strange gets the idea of using the I don't remember what they called, but the shapes in the sheet music,
musical notations. Yeah,
the musical notes.
Physical objects.
The musical notes from the sheet music, and they start going back and forth using music as a means of fighting. And I gotta say, when it started, I thought, okay, this is ridiculous. Why the hell are they fighting with music? This feels like more of a stylistic thing rather than a thing that makes sense. But then I just went, okay, it's magic. They can basically do whatever they want. They can make or use anything as weapons. Kind of like, it reminds me of Green Lantern, who can make up anything with his ring, but he could create a mountain or whatever, but he still creates a car or a fist or whatever. And it reminds me, that's how I kind of like try to explain it to myself, how he could do anything, but at that moment, that's what came up. He used that, and then they both went at each other using music.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of you're suddenly in a bar fight and you just reach for the closest object to smash into someone's face.
Yeah.
Like he looks over and sees this like loose leaf of music just floating down. He's like, that. Boom, wacha, da, 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 da.
It's
for us ridiculous.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it really
is in a really good way. And it makes sense with his character. You go back to that first movie, he had a big piano in his apartment when the first things you see him doing is while he's doing surgery, like he makes the other doctors like play him a song and he'll tell you exactly what the song was and what year it came out. Like it's never been mentioned since then, but they laid some groundwork for it. Music is important to this guy.
Yeah. Which I am curious to know the progression of those songs. Like, why did they pick those songs? Because they are kind of reanimating, rearranging the notes to make these songs, but they're all like very recognizable classical songs. So I'm wondering if there is some kind of Easter egg that it's like each Doctor Strange picked a composer, that these two actual composers in real life maybe had some kind of like competitive nature between them. I'm not sure. I'm just like, I'm wondering if there's something in there like that. But I think something that I also really like about this movie, as much as it can be gory and as much as we can get some genuinely scary moments, there is a camp to this film. There is some cheesiness to this film here. Like in this fight scene, I think it also in the way that these like spirits that Doctor Strange eventually summons, these like demonic spirit, like they're kind of cheesy, and I like it. Like, it's kind of cool.
These souls of the damned that come to attack him when he's trying to climb up Wundagore Mountain remind me so much of like a ghost in The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, just like
I like it.
They're very Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it is very Sam Raimi, and that even goes to the directing, where so many times throughout the movie I was like, okay, that's Sam Raimi directing. When we get the dream walking scenes, just the way that they are edited, just
yes,
they are so weird, so ridiculous, but somehow they work for me.
They really do.
Yeah, I love what he does with the camera. This is a director that thinks on the X, Y, and Z axis. I love when I think Wanda's trying to like dream walk into her 838 self, and she's flickering between the two, and the camera tilts to where the frame's almost like on its side. It's almost diagonal. It's like you're looking at a phone or something. That's really inventive. I don't think I've seen a movie play with the shape and angles of the frame like that before.
Yeah, it's a fascinating film, all of this stuff, because there's like, if you want Marvel history and Marvel lore and Easter eggs, it's chock full of that stuff. If you want Sam Raimi Easter eggs, all of that. He has that same car he has in all of his films.
Want Bruce Campbell in the movie?
You want Bruce Campbell.
Excellent use of Bruce.
He's in there. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Like all like, or just like you want like horror references in general. Like it's chock full of them. There's so much attention to detail in every scene that this is absolutely a marvel to watch. And this is what his first
feast.
It's one of his first films in like a while, right? Didn't he take a break from directing or something like that?
His last movie was Oz the Great and Powerful, which came out in like 2013.
Yeah, he hasn't done this in a decade, and he comes back and makes this. Fuck, man. This is good.
I'm going to see it again tomorrow. I'd already had this planned. I had a friend who like rented out a whole theater to go see it with friends and family.
That's awesome.
It's her return to movie theaters, and I'm so excited to get to see this again so soon, because there was stuff I actively missed because I was still recovering from the last thing it showed me.
Yeah. So they have that musical notation fight. Our familiar version of Doctor Strange ends up winning, and that's when he grabs a hold of the Darkhold and dream walks into the corpse of that first Doctor Strange that we saw. But yeah, then he goes to confront Wanda, who now has America strapped down on this like altar-looking table with all these demonic spells and symbols on it, and she's starting to suck out her power. And yeah, Doctor Strange fashions this amazing cape with all of these like spirit demon hand body things. It's wild. And yeah, makes his way into Mount Wanda. Wong is still miraculously there. They have a big fight / confrontation / America, believe in yourself. You can control your own powers. And this is kind of where America Chavez decides to like believe in Doctor Strange, believing in her, which so then she believes in herself, right? And she does in fact get control of her powers and is and basically sets Wanda up in this universe of like, look, let's put you in front of your kids then. And Billy and Tommy, her kids, are horrified of her.
Yeah.
And that is kind of like the emotional turning point for her there. So what do you guys think of this kind of end scene with like zombie Strange showing up and America getting control of her power? Ignacio, how did you feel about all of this stuff here?
I really liked it as an end fight scene. I really liked it. Like you said, seeing Strange take all of those spirits and making them onto his cape and him using the cape to fly and fight and all of that. I really liked it. One Easter egg that I really liked was when all the spirits came through Strange and started fighting Christine. She picks up I don't know what you would call it, like a chalice or a goblet or whatever.
There is an actual name for it.
Yeah, it has a name. They say the name at some point.
Yeah.
But she uses it to fight the spirits, which is a callback to Doctor Strange when he is fighting Matt Mikkelsen. He picks it up and
you don't know how to use that.
You don't know how to use it, right?
Yeah.
And then she just uses it to fight them off. I really like that. And then, yeah, that scene with America showing her, or not even showing her, putting her on as she is as a bad person. She puts her on the universe, the A38 universe for the kids to see, and them being just terrified of her. I really like that.
Yeah. I think it's a really powerful moment for Wanda. Just to see her kids so scared, right? Just to
like if you would have done this a while ago, we would have saved a lot of bloodshed,
right? Yeah,
Black Bolt would still have a head.
Exactly. Melissa, your thoughts here on this like end confrontation?
I thought it was a little too convenient that America doesn't believe in herself and can't control her power, and Doctor Strange is like, but you can. And then she does.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, these powers first displayed themselves when she was a little kid and she was scared by just a bee. Very innocent thing we can all relate to. And then it zaps her moms away from her. And she seems like she's had a lack of a caring parental figure since then, maybe. Maybe it seems like such a clear, obvious thing. But yeah, maybe nobody has tried telling her that. Maybe she's not really talked about this with anybody in like the 10 years or however long it's been since she lost her moms.
Yeah.
It seemed a little too easy at first when I think about it. Like it works. And I like that it is her choice to say, I am going to give Wanda what she wants. Like, I don't want to do, instead of hurting this lady, I'm going to put the ball in her court. And what'll happen will happen. I have a feeling how it will go. And it is very, very sad. But you get it. Like I said, it's got this sort of archetypically tragic arc to it. It's like, it's just like what Big Man, what Kingpin was going through into the Spider-Verse. It's the same thing where he's searching through all these universes to find another wife and son, and he finds them and they're like, what did you do to get here? We don't ask for this.
Yeah. personally, yeah, I agree with you, Melissa, that it might seem like just like believe in yourself, but I don't. But you can. Okay, I will. But yeah, you're right. Like there is like the stuff is there between the lines. It's just not explicitly said, and I do like that. However, I feel like America Chavez was just brutally underused in this film. Like she is just kind of there for most of it until the end when it is like, all right, Wanda, here you go. Here's your kids. And so I really do hope that they bring her back in some show or movie to give her some more screen time, and we can see, because I think her deal is that she has been searching for her parents / running from Wanda, that she hasn't really stuck in any one universe and therefore probably wouldn't have any friends. And so I would love to see her meet Miss Marvel, right? To see her meet Billy and Tommy when maybe they're a little older, right? Start meeting some of these younger Avengers and stuff like that. I think that would be neat.
And that, I know that must be the game they're playing, and it's just a very long game of setting up, like going back to just the mention of, I have a nephew who lives around here.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna get miles down the road. They are going to collect all of these young Avengers. I think they're taking their sweet time doing it.
Yeah, they are. And yeah, so hopefully we see more of her. My other kind of problem with this ending is that I still feel like WandaVision is super important, but I feel like the ending of this, like it's not that it conflicts. It's like I was kind of mentioning to Ignacio while Melissa, you were having the technical issues. I feel like Wanda has just been dragged through the mud so much, and WandaVision resolves in a way that she has to give it all up. But then she's also not really sorry. But then also there's the post-credit scene where it's like, oh, you didn't learn your lesson. Like you didn't give this all up here. And so it's just this, it feels like this weird spiral that's like, okay, we've already kind of seen this happen before, that you've had to like emotionally give up your family and give up being with them, or at least like you, like this version of you don't get to have it, at least yet, right? But it's just, I don't know, like I feel like they're kind of reusing story beats, if that makes sense.
I also wonder if some of that's for the audience members who maybe don't check out the shows, aren't really aware of them.
Yeah, but if they didn't watch the show, they'd be like, wait, she has kids? What is this? Why is Vision not here? What's happening?
Why is she evil?
Yeah, I agree that I feel like there's some repetition in a way that I wish that she was more vocally, like she walked herself through, like she discussed, I know I've tried something like this before, but this time, or I know what you're thinking, but I've got a plan. Like she walked us through where she's been in this emotional headspace for so long.
Yeah. Like, I mean, man, because her line to Doctor Strange when he goes to visit her in the like white tree place thing, I don't know where all
Beautiful.
That was. Yeah. Just her line of like, hey, when you break the rules, they make you a hero. When I do it, I become the villain. Fantastic. Like, immediately you're like, yeah, like I get it. It makes sense. Like I can empathize, right? It's like I'm finding it difficult to wrestle with what they've been doing with her, if that makes sense. I don't know.
It's troubling to watch so many bad things happen to her, but she is a I think back to the Wanda we saw at like the beginning of Infinity War, where her and Vision are in Scotland, and it's a Wanda who's happier, but I think she has become a richer character. And she's gone through a struggle that's been very compelling, and people can relate to, especially. Just that experience of grief that she went through in WandaVision, I know is important for a lot of people to watch.
Yeah.
To have a character who has been through such tragedy and has been bestowed such power, and to see her really look at, all right, what can I do with my power about that tragedy? And like really push the lengths of what it is that she can do.
Yeah.
And what she's willing to do and what compromises she makes.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. I wish things, and we don't know. We don't know if this is the end of the story. This has been a character they've been focusing on over the last like 2 years with this movie, with this TV show starring her, an excellent performance, a character people really care about.
Yeah.
I really get the feeling we aren't done, and we will come back to her at some point. And I think that we will eventually leave her in a happier place, or at least just I
hope so.
A more peaceful place.
I hope so. Yeah. So to start to wrap things up here, once she kind of has this emotional moment of seeing her kids horrified, she does be like, all right, I'll stop all of this stuff. And she eventually destroys Mount Wundagore so that no one can use these dark spells. We now have both Mount Wundagore and the Darkhold of this universe destroyed. And Doctor Strange has a comment in there that she eventually destroys all of the Darkholds in all of the universes. So she kind of goes that extra mile to be like, all right, it causes enough corruption and pain and stuff like that no one should have this. This is where things get interesting to me, because I didn't read this as her killing herself or her sacrificing herself. I didn't read that at all. I thought, oh, she just destroyed this place and then had to go destroy all of the Darkholds and all of that stuff. So when I started seeing people being like, man, it sucks that she died, I was like, whoa, wait.
I don't think she died.
No, I did take it as her trying to kill herself. I think it could have very easily been a 2-for-1 deal where at the same time that she is crumbling everything about herself, she is also getting rid of every other Darkhold in existence.
Yeah.
I take it as like her trying to kill herself, whether or not she succeeded in that. She tried to escape at the last second, whatever. It will have to be seen, but
because it could have been. My only issue with that then is there's no line about that. There's no like, well, she sacrificed herself for there's no mention of that. There's just
I see the sacrifice reading, but it's definitely the secondary reading for me. I read it more as she's like, I'm gonna destroy this place, and she's sort of like entombs. I felt she was like, I'm putting myself in timeout. I'm going to entomb myself. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna go deep.
I don't know.
I'm gonna work on myself because I'm a witch and I can sustain myself in a survival bubble.
Even if it's not a sacrifice, just the idea of like, well, you know, right, she chose to kill herself. However they read her ending her own life, right? There's no mention of it, and and for someone who was an Avenger, who helped fight against Thanos, you would think there would at least be a line in there from Doctor Strange, or like, hey, we need to update that. Like, we need to let the rest of the Avengers know that she passed. Or there's nothing. I don't believe that she killed herself. However, I do think it also is kind of shitty that they did the thing at the end. Doctor Strange will return, and they didn't have one for Scarlet Witch, because she is a major player in this.
I think that is traditional, revealing. That it's always like whoever the number one protagonist title character is.
And that makes sense. And Ignacio, you're right. too. That could also be a nod that she didn't survive, right?
Yeah, you don't drop a mountain on the villain that just realized the bad things that she did and she wants to take penance for it. You don't drop a mountain on her and in the next 5 minutes tell everyone that she's alive.
I think my other thing with that is like I think also it like if you're America or if you're Doctor Strange, like you don't let her kill herself, right? Like that would be the next bit of the.
No, I think if
like,
you're
get
Doctor
her help.
No, I think if you're Doctor Strange and you've seen her journey, but now she has gone so far into. She killed the Illuminati. There's no going back from that. Yeah, I think that Strange is in the position of, okay, I'm gonna let her kill herself, give her own life.
Yeah, it's up for debate for sure. But I absolutely did not.
She killed so many people in Camartage.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not saying she didn't or that she didn't do bad things. It's just
I don't think you can just walk away from that.
Herself. Oh, I'm not saying let her walk away from that. Get her help is not letting her walk away. She still has to face those consequences. It's not like, all right, well, everything's all honky dory. I'll see you at Avengers Mansion after this. That stuff needs to be done. They need to confront that. My issue is that it's just unclear if she is dead or not. I didn't.
And maybe
read it
that's
as that.
something where they're still working on it. And they wanted to leave it open-ended to go either direction, depending on how future things play out. I don't know. I would love to see her get help. I'd love to see who could help her. I would love it. We've got these books of dark magic, books of light magic. Is there There's a
certain...
What are you saying, Professor X?
Professor that could certainly help, yeah.
Yeah, I think he would. Like he tried to reach out for 838 Wanda, trapped inside, going through that all that rubble, trying to pull her out. It was very sweet. I'd love it if among these books of light and dark magic, there's just an incredibly powerful book of helping yourself.
Yeah,
just feel better. Just really think about your problems and reach out and a magical tome of self-care. I want to exist on a mountaintop somewhere in the MCU.
They have an alternate version of those for dummies books, but it's for Avengers or for superheroes, right?
Right. And this is something I do really want them to talk more about. When your problems become so larger than life, where do you seek help from? Right. And I think about I know he's dealing with his own stuff. He's very busy. But I think about how one of the first things we ever saw Sam Wilson do is he's in a veteran support group. He's leading a support group. I'm like, I'd love to see him get back to that and to develop that again for his fellow Avengers. Like, you got to prioritize Wanda. I know you and Bucky have been very busy. You had to save your sister's shrimp boat. Yeah. Can you check on her, Sam, please? You are the most qualified person I can think of.
Yeah, with She-Hulk coming up, who knows? We might even get an introduction to Doc Samson, who is a psychiatrist within the MC or something like that. But yeah.
I hope that this has been Wanda's House of M moment, her Avengers Assembled moment, and the next time we see her, it's her Avengers versus X-Men moment where she has gone through it. She is trying to do better.
Yeah.
She is in a better place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Last but not least, let's talk about these end credits scenes. So
first off,
go for it.
I want to say that I love that the final bit of the movie, pre-credits, is Doctor Strange learning to be at peace with himself, be happy with his life as he has it, and walking down the street, and suddenly a third eye grows out of his head, and he screams, and it cuts to directed by Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
And then
that's screams in the middle of the street.
I think post-credit scene He's just walking through the street with the third eye as if nothing.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
Right.
it's the next
I don't
day.
know.
We've gotten used to this.
Yeah.
He's learned to live with his eye very
Just
quickly.
me and my
Yeah, that
demons.
post-credit scene. I had no idea this was coming. Just suddenly, here's Academy Award winner Charlize Theron in a stunning purple eye makeup look.
Did not know she was going to be in this at all. There's this character who pops up and is like, Doctor Strange, we need your help. And he's just like, okay, I don't know who you are, but sure, I'm here to help. And she cuts like a portal into another dimension or stuff, and they're about
The
to hop
dark
into
dimension. This is where he went to meet
specifically, yeah.
Dormammu.
Indeed, yeah. I recognized Charlize Theron. At first I had no idea who that character is. She is credited as Clea. Which again, I was just like, I don't know who the fuck Clea is. And I guess turns out that she is like the niece of Dormammu, potential love interest for Doctor Strange. So I think now that he has kind of fixed things with Christine and is at a good place and is content, yeah, it would be interesting to have a new love interest for Doctor Strange here. But yeah, they hop into the dark dimension.
I look forward to that. I do like that his arc with Christine is learning to come to terms with, we aren't right for each other. Like, we are important we are important to each other. We care about each other. We are never going to work in a relationship. We have to learn to just be friends on some level.
Yeah.
And I think introducing a new love interest for him will help him get over that. I would love to see him interact romantically with somebody outside of Christine and see how he grows.
Absolutely. So I'm not familiar with Clea in the comics at all. I know nothing about her. But Ignacio, let me ask you this. So she mentioned the word incursion, which is now starting to be a word that I think we should pay attention to within the MCU, that there is another incursion happening. Do you think this was a setup for Doctor Strange 3 or something more at large in the MCU?
I don't know. And I don't know if I trust this particular post-credit scene, because it very much feels like, okay, so the problem has been presented to itself. She comes in, says, hey, Strange, I need you to go with me to the dark dimension. They go to the dark dimension. What happens next, considering that the next time we see Strange, if it is his own movie, so many years into the future, it's going to be in so many years. And then chances are we see him on other things before that. On other things. So could they even touch upon it on anything else, another Doctor Strange movie? So
sure.
To me, it feels very much like it's gonna be a mortal situation where it will get a line of how it got resolved, because I don't see how they show it being resolved, considering this very much feels like the start to it.
They also don't need to film all of their movies in order, similar to how Ant-Man and the Wasp took place before the events of Infinity War, even though it came out after.
Yeah, but I don't know if considering how many years it will take to get another Doctor Strange. I don't know if that's even the solution.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there, right? And I think it very much could be something like that, of like, hey, now that we've had this adventure into the dark dimension, here's Clea, my new girlfriend, right? And they go on from there. We've had a lot of talk about Secret Wars as for the next big thing for the MCU as a whole, this kind of conglomerate world that in the comics, the more recent Secret Wars, Dr. Doom kind of put together as after they had one of these incursions. And yeah, it's this conglomerate world of all these different universes coming together, and they have to fight and realize that, hey, this is not the Earth that they should be on.
So
Stuff like that.
I don't see us getting a resolution to this unless this is either a part of or is a next big thing for the MCU. Kind of like how we kept getting Thanos being teased through other movies. Could this be that the next Avengers movie, something happens with the universe? We got Shang-Chi. We got that whole mystery going on there. Could it be that whatever thing is going on there, we see, okay, here's what this group is doing, here's what this group is doing, and then the way Doctor Strange figures into all of this is that he has been dealing with the whole thing with the dark dimension and the incursion into the world.
Yeah,
I can see that being a way to resolve that, but again, if this is something for the next Doctor Strange, I feel it will end up being, I think, like the mortal thing that we got in the last movie.
That's fair. I'm kind of the mind of what you just said, where to be honest, at this point, I have no idea what the MCU is doing. I don't know what they're building towards, because we have all the mention of the members of the Young Avengers or Champions. We have the like Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers. Who knows what that will be? We have Kang, right? We have the multiverse splintering and doing all that stuff. There's these incursions. Now there's this dark dimension thing. There's the whatever signal was sent out in Shang-Chi, right? Like I have no idea what's happening. There is not a clear, like, we are building towards Thanos. That is it. So who knows?
I think that might be their plan. Instead of having everything go towards one finale, one climax of that arc of one saga, we're in an era where there's maybe a couple parallel sagas where they branch off.
A couple smaller ones.
Right. The MCU itself is splintering, and some of those splinters are about splinters.
Yeah.
But not about Splinter the Rat. He's separate.
So he is a good Splinter. Indeed. And then post-credit scene part 2, I actually called this one as I was waiting in the theaters.
Excellent. Good job.
Turned to my girlfriend and I was like, I bet you we go back to Bruce Campbell. Like, there's no way that we don't, right? And we go back to good old Pizza Papa, and he's still hitting himself at. It stopped. Yeah, it stopped.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over.
At you, towards you. The film is over.
Yeah, so good.
Loved that. Excellent.
I don't like it when the MCU's movies do that. If you're gonna do that, don't put it at the end of the credits where everyone is sitting there, because we know that there's gonna be something.
So you didn't like the end credits scene?
Yeah. Have you wait for so long to get something? A tease for what's to come, and then have it be a joke? I do not like it.
We got the whole Clea thing. We got the Dark Dimension Clea thing.
Well,
and then we got to
turn it around. Have that one be the post-credit scene. But my theater was disappointed when that happened.
I got you.
They were mad. at Bruce Campbell.
I loved it. It's you know what? Maybe it's not the best
post-credit scene. Like you just wasted my time.
In terms of the MCU, does it build to anything? Is it a helpful post-credit scene? No. But as a directorial touch,
was it worth it having to sit through the credits?
I think so.
To sit through the credits.
I vote yes.
I sit through the credits of every movie now. It's regardless of what it is. If I'm watching an old movie from 1997, I'm like, I'm going to sit through the end. I'm just conditioned to do that now.
Yeah, I did that a lot before the MCU. I just think it's respectful. But for me to see that like directorial Easter egg touch post credit scene, that to me is really special, because I have been a big proponent of, for superhero movies in general, to not really have that superhero fatigue, or for the MCU to not have the MCU fatigue. They really need to really lean into genres, or alternatively lean into directors that have a very particular style. And so to see him get moments like that is just like, oh, cool. It's neat. It's neat that they allowed him to do stuff like that. But yeah, there you go.
I think if this was just a general original Wizard movie and it wasn't connected to any larger franchise, to have that be the final button on it would be a hit. And I'm like, yeah, let it have that unto itself. It doesn't have to serve the other 30 films that it is part of.
Yeah. But Ignacio shaking his head still, disappointed in Marvel, disappointed in Sam Raimi. Sam, if you're watching this, Sam, I think you owe Ignacio an apology.
Give me my time. Even Eternals had a better one.
I think I would agree on that one. I think for me that's just, I'm more excited about Blade than I am. Like, I don't know who Clea is. Like,
we're gonna learn.
I was also that, but I was also less excited for the cameo of Harry Styles in that post credit.
I think that,
because I was like, I don't know who this character is. I don't who the fuck.
I would rather have that and him dropping that. I think he says that he's the brother of the Mad Titan, and even
he's
seeing Harry Styles there as a new character, have the mystery of, oh, who is he? How is he going to come into this? Why is he in the ship? I'd rather get that than, again, Bruce Campbell, which, great guy. I love him. It's better than having him.
Ignacio, you hate Bruce Campbell. You hate him so much. I can see it all the way here.
Mortal enemies.
Mortal enemies.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, yeah. Do you guys have last things to say about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? You guys want to?
Great movie.
Not just such a spectacle. Technically so impressive. Very excited to see it again tomorrow. I'm sure it's a movie I'll return to many times.
I had a blast. I think this is a great one. Don't necessarily think it's up there in my favorites. I don't think it's gonna make most people's like best of the MC. Well, no, I take that back. This is one of the best. I think
it's in my top 5
in the MCU. I don't think it is going to be the best, right? It's not going to be number 1, but it's
which isn't fair.
Sure. Absolutely,
it isn't fair. There are like 30 something movies. So even top 5, even then it's fantastic. Hard to create a top 5.
Yeah.
So good on Sam Raimi and Marvel, Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Olsen. They all did fantastic.
Yeah, whole gang.
Mm-hmm. So I think that is about it for our spoiler cast for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So let's go ahead and wrap things up. Melissa, let's start with you. Where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities.
And Ignacio, where can they find you?
The people can find me on Twitter at IgnacioRojasB. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
And you guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. If you guys want to stay up to date with all of us at the Whatnots and all the stuff that we do, our entire multiverse of madness, you guys can follow us on Twitter at the Whatnots. So please go like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you down the road, maybe for some Star Wars stuff, maybe for some Miss Marvel content here. We'll see. That stuff is coming up very fast. But yeah, we will see you all next time. Bye.
Hi.
I